And with Tonne Shelton, she is absolutely branding her heart.
Hello guys, and welcome back to a new edition of Teaching Transitions, where we help aspiring entrepreneurs overcome their fears by hearing success stories. Today we have Tonne Shelton. How are you today?
I'm doing well. The Lord woke me up this morning, so.
Yes, amen. So our moniker now is, hey, I have a question.
Okay.
So my question today for you is, what are you inspired by in this place in your life?
That is a huge question. And a lot of things went through my mind. Right now, it's like ironic because it's transitions podcast, but it's like, I often reflect on right now my life feels like it's in transition. I'm thinking of the work that I do. So I work for a nonprofit that I'm super duper passionate about. I love the mission. I love what we stand for. As a matter of fact, we had to reschedule just so that I could be here on time because we were doing a community engagement event. But I think it's the kids that I serve that inspire me. And why I say that is because there are certain things that I am just now coming to the realization that they exist, right? And that's about exposure.
Like, let's pause right there. Certain things you're realizing that exist. Give me an example.
So I'm someone that really just doesn't travel that much, to be quite honest. And so I'm just now trying to, like, I'm terrified of flying, right?
No. I don't know if you're talking about right. I didn't know that.
No. I am the most like extroverted, introverted person that you could probably ever meet. Like, I love like performing and like doing things, but when it comes to like being in like large crowds of people, that gives me like intense anxiety. But something so much is like flying, right? A lot of the kids that I'd work with, specifically at one of the campuses that I was at, we would talk about things like, we played this one game and it was like, name 10 restaurants. And I just remember the restaurants that they named were very much so local brands, like very much so, like I was just like expanding horizons. And so for me, it's like I'm inspired and motivated because I feel that if once people are exposed, you know, that people talk about that third eye, but it's just like once you're exposed to like a lot more and you see a lot more, I think that you can make more.
Gonna stop me.
Yeah, it's like you can make more informed decisions about your life, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
But when you're limited in your experiences in your environment, and so I say all of that to say, I've never been outside of Central Texas. I was born in Waco, raised in Killeen, came to college at Baylor, went to grad school, got
Baylor,
a job, at Baylor, like didn't go anywhere else for grad school, got a job in Waco, then got another job in Waco. And so it's just like,
this main area.
I'm just like, I thought
you traveled a little bit with Big 12, or was that just Alfred?
No, that was just Alfred, yeah.
Okay.
I know that was just Alfred.
Okay, so what do you have your eyes set on then? What's your next step to get out of Central Texas?
I really love the Dallas area. Like, I am semi-obsessed with Dallas. I think the art scene is cool. I love the fact that, okay, being completely honest, being from Killeen, you see a lot of different races of people in different areas.
Really?
My experience being from Fort Hood, because the military brings people from all over the country.
Right.
So wherever they, you know, wherever the soldiers settle and they marry and they have children and things like that, and you bring. So I'm used to seeing all kinds of people, right? And I think in Waco, it is very much so different in that there are just pockets of areas, and this is where, you know, this group of people go and this where that. And so I'm just like, I like going to Dallas because I see some of everything. I think I'm ready for that.
That was interesting for us too, just diversity wise. That's what we were looking for. But I think one of the things that was kind of threw us off was it's still like so segregated, especially
in the Dallas area.
Yeah, especially in the schools.
Okay.
And so we moved to a suburb, and like the suburb, when looking at like their school, the great school score or something like that, it said it was very diverse, but not like that. Like not like diverse in the way that I was expecting it to be, and we were expecting it to be essentially.
May I ask what the predominant race was?
Yeah, it was mostly white.
Okay.
And I felt like there was no real escape for us when trying to like educate our son, and then especially with the history and how he'll contextualize his life. That was really important for us. But I knew I wanted to pour into a public school system and not homeschool them, because then that's like another form of segregation. So we find ourselves in this hole. But outside of that, in your search of freedom with the book that you wrote,
I like the way that you did that. I love the way that you transitioned into that.
Yes. In your search of freedom, what are some, let's see, what are some ways that in your life that you are searching for an outlet or clarity so that you're not impacted by other perspectives?
Yeah. Oh, that's big. I'm someone that's typically very active, very involved, very much so trying to do things, pushing the lens. You remember in school, like throwing bleach on hats and, you know, really just trying to do things and being.
Still got it, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say trying to, you know, we trying to do a little something, but like always like being involved. Like I was in portraits and like ran the drama department. You know, I would do like write poetry and perform it. I ended up going the social work route, for schooling, which that I don't like being caged in. I think you understand. I like the freedom to, but I also like to connect people, right? So one of the things that I wanted to like say was, for a second I worked part-time at a shoe store while I was also working full-time for my nonprofit. And one of my like bragging points was that because I was in the capacity in the environment with Foot Action is where I worked, I asked the DM, I'm like, hey, we're trying to get some promo for this grant that we have. We're trying to get kids excited. Do you think you can swing me some gift cards? And after like continuously like pushing and stuff, he ended up giving my agency a certain amount of gift cards, and they were $100 gift cards as a donation, right? We gave our first one away to one of our high school kids who's like an amazing kid, young guy coming up. And so for me, it's just like we can do things like that all the time. So I'm always trying to think of like new and innovative ways to like connect people, right? So just because you're an account, like just because I work for a nonprofit and, you know, just I don't like being in a box. I feel like it takes all of us, you know? Yeah. And that didn't answer none of your questions. So ask me again what you said.
No, I'm just like, in your search of freedom, where are you looking to be released or gain perspective? So what does freedom look like for you? And in what part of your life are you mainly looking for that right now?
Oh, I see. Wow. Freedom to me looks like just having time. I'm somebody that always feels like I don't have any time. I always feel like
go.
I always feel like I'm on the go. I always feel like I'm behind the power curve. I always feel like somebody is asking, like, you know, something of me or to do something. And on top of that, I like to do things, right? Yeah. So it's like this weird, like, push and pull between having time to relax. Like my favorite days are like when I don't have anything to do on Saturday, and I just get up and I go to a coffee shop and I just read, sis. Like, and I like to just sip on coffee and just read books and by the sun. There's a place in Waco called Fabled, and it's just like
we just went to that. Like literally, we walked past and I was like, "Let's go in."
Go inside. Fabled is so. Fabled
they have
is
so
not
many cute like sitting areas.
Fabled is not paying me, and they should, because I am forever like on Instagram. You know this about me. Like for the most part, I like to highlight the cool things. I feel like it's cool, so I feel like everybody should.
Yeah, I saw the other day they had Waco tours, and I'm like, is that authentic? Is that what the commercial side wants to see, or are you showing like true Waco? I wonder whose lens that is really coming from. Like, what is that tour about? But if you had to do a tour for Waco outside of Fabled, what are some other hotspots that you get inspiration from?
Oh man, I like so I have a very close friend that owns a business in the East Waco area, Dominique Rocco Boats. And so I often spend probably about 2 or 3 days a week at Rock My Style Barbershop. It's in a historically black area, so it was like super duper important for him. Like I think it spoke volumes for him to his first actual business where you own the building, you own the land. That is in.
I saw him he's developing that land.
Yeah, he really is. He is really doing an awesome job, I think, as someone that's close to him and seeing him personally and professionally grow, you know, the community development aspect, because not only has he really tapped into the resources for his job and things, he is now even employing other people. And I've always been able to utilize his services to benefit things that I have going, right? So I told you I worked in the after school sector, or maybe I didn't say that, but I worked in an after school program. Yeah. And Rocco about twice a year would donate free haircuts to the kids, as well as sponges and brushes. I could always count on him. He sat on my advisory board, and when we had outlandish ideas, he would say, girl, that's not going to work. Yeah. Or, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
So he was on the advisory board for CIS?
He was on the advisory board for the other program, but maybe, look, I'm waiting. Look, when he watches this, he's going to be like, I'm not doing nothing else for you. But I am really inspired by him, and I'm inspired by just a lot of people that I feel like we always want to paint this lens of perfection, but the reality is, I'm renting a home from my 84-year-old sorority sister, who is basically a grandmother to me. And her husband, Rob King, did so much for the city of Waco. A lot of the things that we enjoy and benefit from here are because of the hard work and the sacrifice that both of them put in years and years ago. And one thing that I can say is they stayed here and watched things progress, right? Yeah. And so it's just like, I'm inspired by the 76704 in particular area. It's not where it used to be at all. We came and it was just like almost a culture shock. Where are we?
Where's the exit? Like, the exit is like 2 miles.
But you weren't culture shocked by where the fabled area is. When we were in school, sis, they didn't have all of that.
Yeah, no.
They did not have none of that.
One of the biggest things was like the welcome center that they are building, and I was like, all that space for a welcome center? What are you welcoming? Like, who are you welcoming? So I think they're also in a transition phase to like this Ivy League.
Baylor?
Yeah.
Well, that was the rumor even when we were there. So it's like, it was just like, oh, that's why that parking lot is not a parking lot no more. It's grass. Yeah. The rumor was just so maybe
the welcome center is not going to be big. Maybe it's just going to be like a small lot and they're going to have grass or something right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but do you honestly and truly, like, and I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but it's like, do you fault people for wanting to elevate and do more? And I know you're the one that's supposed to be asking me questions, but the reality is just like, do you fault people for like, okay, this is the level that I'm at now, but I want to get to this level, so I'm going to do all of these things to get to that level, even if other people around me are not necessarily benefiting or agree with that.
What I think is, especially before we came